Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Texas Mortgage Boss podcast. Today, I'm joined by one of my great partners, Travis Smith with AMCAP Home Loans. Travis, how you doing today?
I'm well. How are you, James?
I'm doing well, man. So we got so much going on right now, and I can't think of a better person to have on than you. You are very, very educated when it comes to breaking down the market with the market, the delinquencies, the foreclosures, a lot of stuff we've got going on right now that I think for a lot of people, they're going to be a little surprised as to where we're heading. Um, there's a lot of talk with inflation, the war, uh, interest rates, right? So a lot of this is affecting people in multiple ways. So I want to get you on here to kind of discuss foreclosures and some of the delinquencies that we're seeing in the market and where we might be going in 2022.
Okay, my pleasure, and thank you,
So,
James, for having me on. By the way,
and I appreciate you coming on. So I'm going to just bring up this slide because I want people to get a inside look because some of this information people in the public won't necessarily see. So it's up to people like you and I to bring out this information to really break this down. So I want to break this up. So this is coming from Black Knight, which is a very well-known entity as far as real estate in our industry. So this is really looking at the delinquencies and the foreclosures as it relates to where we are today versus a year ago today, or excuse me, at least January of 2021. So delinquencies, this is January 2022. All right, so a lot of this data, guys, is going to be a little bit behind. It takes usually a month or so before we get the data. So we're going to look at January right now. And so for January, we're seeing what, 3.3%. Year over year change from a year ago was what it says is down 43.62, right? Negative. But Travis, I want you to really start to break this down for people so we can really educate people on what these numbers really mean.
so what it's really indicating, James, and this is why I think this is so important. A lot of people are not taking into account on this data how many people were in delinquency status through COVID, because through COVID we were allowed to stop paying our mortgage without penalty.
Yeah.
So what you're going to start seeing, I think, from here on out is you're going to start seeing a large increase in foreclosures. You're going to start seeing really, really crazy percentages. And what I really want to focus on is if you look, it actually says a foreclosure starts, right? So foreclosure start is a family homeowner or homeowner that is going to start the process of foreclosure.
Right.
We're seeing a 702% increase month over month.
Yep.
Okay, which is obviously astonishing. Now, a year over year change, 457%. And the reason why I think this is important is, for obvious reasons, it's a toxic seller's market.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of the perception as far as the market goes right now is the seller's market is great. And for a lot of people, they are making money. Let's just be real. They are making some money, but this is kind of what I call the lagging. Like it's what's coming. And you've been talking about this a lot on your videos as well. So that lagging with the forbearances that have yet to come to fruition, because there's still a lot of people in forbearance right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the reasons why I like reporting on this, James, is because there's such few outlets that are actually reporting on the foreclosure pandemonium that's about to go on. Because we have to also remember this is as of January of this year.
Right. So
what that means is this is not taking into account the increased inflation for food and for gas, because obviously what has happened since January, right? The Ukraine and Russia crisis.
Absolutely.
So I think what we're going to see moving forward is a huge increase in foreclosures. And what that's, again, it's going to give us, and I hate for families to have to go through the tragedy of foreclosure, but how it's going to help the buyer's market is we need the inventory, man. Without the inventory, it's going to stay crazy like this for a period of time. Now, I think the biggest combat to the toxic sellers market right now is the lack of affordability.
Right.
So I think the lack of affordability and the lack of inventory are going to basically battle it out, right? And that's the point I'm trying to make. But so as things get more and more unaffordable, I think that is when we're going to really start seeing it transition into a buyer's market.
Now, let me ask you this real quick. So with the foreclosures that we're seeing, because a lot of the experts are saying, okay, yeah, we may have foreclosures, but there's such a lack of inventory. All those foreclosures are going to get scooped up, whether it be an investor or an owner occupant. But you and I both know it's probably going to be an investor, because these owner occupant people that are looking to get into these homes, they're not only competing with other owner occupants, they're competing with investors.
Yeah, and I think that, okay, so we talked about the problem with the housing market, and one of the reasons why it's such a toxic seller's market is because of the lack of inventory.
Yes.
But then we have to also ask ourselves, why is there such a lack of inventory? A big reason is the supply chain issues and the inability for new home builders to get more homes on the market.
Yeah.
But another huge problem that we have with this housing market is the overabundance of investor demand, right?
Yeah.
One big one, BlackRock.
Absolutely.
And BlackRock just lost $17 billion last week as a result of the Russia crisis. So to me, what I'm hoping to see from BlackRock is, here's the problem. They're managing, I think, $15 trillion.
Yeah.
Right? So 17 billion in the big scheme of things is not that much, but what I'm hoping to see from BlackRock is for them to liquidate some of their assets in the form of housing.
Yeah.
And as you also know, Zillow's iBuyer program, they got out of the market, right? Yep. So part of the reason of 2020 and 2021 was there's so much investor demand, but I believe going into 2022, we're going to start seeing less investor demand because there's assumably not going to be double-digit equity growth, and Zillow's already come out and said that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that, because with the inflation that seems like it's unending at this point. We still have higher interest rates, which is obviously slowing down the market. We know it's going to slow down the market, but I know you've been talking a lot about where this is going to lead us into, and these charts that we're showing people are really breaking it down a little bit more micro, because the news is only going to give you so much information, right? A lot of doom and gloom, but I like the way you break down the intricacies of some of this. So let's look at this right here, because this is another pretty telling sign of what may be coming our way, whether it be the summertime or the end of 2022. So let's look at this. So this is just breaking down foreclosure starts. Again, this is the percentage change from a year ago, from January 2020 to January 2022. So this looks good, right? Looks good. If you're just the average Joe, you're looking at this, it says, oh, listen, everybody's down, right? Texas, specifically where we're at, we're down minus 12% from a year ago, January 2020. So let's break this down a little bit more to understand what this really means for people.
Okay, so it's really important to note though that I am not a financial advisor. So this is really
I'm sorry. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. This is only my opinion is based on certain factors.
Absolutely.
But here's the biggest problem with this map, and again, this is why I'm glad that you're bringing this to light, because I believe the upcoming wave of foreclosures is being swept under the rug, right? And the reality is that there's a lot more people suffering that are actually homeowners right now than people believe. And I really fear for whoever's going to purchase a home in 2022. Whoever's purchasing a home right now at this very minute is going to have, in my eyes, the biggest likelihood of a potential foreclosure or a financial hardship. And one of the reasons why this map is skewed right here, like if you look at California, it says negative 42%, which would indicate they have had 42% less people go into a foreclosure start. Right. The reason why I see that as tainted is, again, it's not taking into account all of the people that did not have to go into default, but chose to go into default because we were allowed to during the COVID shutdown.
Yep.
So I believe the reality of these numbers is all of these states should be a plus. It shouldn't be a negative, because again, how many people lined up to further mortgage payments? I mean, yes. I chose not to do it, but my lender said that I could go into a forbearance agreement and not pay my mortgage without penalty. What about you? Did you call?
I did as well. And you and I both know that there's a ton of people who put their home in forbearance and they really didn't need to.
No,
right? It it was basically delaying the inevitable, in my
Yeah.
opinion, to where, okay, you know what, let's give ourselves a break, put our house in forbearance where we don't have to make a payment for X amount of time, and ride this thing out with the government allowing us to just go and go and go. But I've been telling people for a year, like, at some point, they got to pull a plug on this thing. And when we do, is exactly what we're leading to right now. The plug got to get pulled at some point. We can't keep delaying this, right? So, you had mentioned the tainted numbers, which is exactly what this is actually showing, a little bit of that as well. So this is the foreclosure starts. This is as of January of 2022. So this is a percentage of people who are seriously delinquent. So this is kind of piggyback on your point about the numbers are not really up to date at this point. So forbearances are going to come to fruition where the government's going to say, hey, this is over. You got to do what you got to do. Now, whether that's sell your home, or we're going to have quite a few more foreclosures. So this right now, again, let's look at Texas, because this is pretty interesting right now. It looks like we're only at 4%, right?
Yeah, I looked at that. I guess historically, 4% is not a lot. In my eyes, though, now that we're back in reality and we don't have the government protecting us from our own,
Yes.
bad spending habits,
Absolutely.
to me, 4 out of 100 mortgages that are, going into foreclosure or foreclosure start, that is a big number. If you look at Oklahoma, 6.8%,
Yep.
right? And I'm looking at other, all these other states like North and Central states. And one of the reasons I think that they have the increased foreclosures is the only thing I can think of is a lack of employment opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in Texas, we have so many employment opportunities, especially in Austin, being in the Silicon Valley. So that's what I'm saying. And now, but here's my concern going into 2022. Those jobs that were so readily available in 2020 and 2021 are going to be dried up. So Texas is going to have less migration, in my eyes, which is going to also create less demand.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for more supply, less demand. I think it's a fact that if you decide to sell your house right now, you're going to be selling your house at one of the best times in U.S. housing history to sell your house. So I think it's absolutely great. If if you're considering selling your house, if you sell your house, if it's, if you're debating it, I think now's the time, because what I suspect is going to happen, James, is as we move on deeper into 2022, I think it's going to start shifting into a buyer's market. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe that if you're on the market and you're struggling to find a house and you're getting frustrated putting in offers that are getting turned down, I think you wait a little bit. And I think the longer you wait, I actually think there's going to be more opportunities to find something that you like. Personally, I'll overpay for something that I love. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't even find something to overpay for that I love.
Yeah.
The only things I could find to overpay for are things that I don't love. Right? So I really think 2022 is going to be about adjusting your mindset. And I think that if you're in a desperate situation, regardless, I think that if you have a long-term mindset, I still think you're going to be safe buying, but you really got to have your mindset, because as you can see here, man, 4%, 6.8 in Oklahoma. If you don't have your, if you're living outside of your budget, it's gonna be really tough for you going into 2022, because again, this doesn't take into account the increased food prices, the gas prices, and a possible recession coming. And recession means job loss. Job loss means foreclosures.
I just came across something a couple of days ago reading about rentals, right, as well. So rents and rental properties in general, we're actually at a shortfall on that as well right now. So you are 100% right as far as people adjusting, because maybe the beginning of the year before rates start to go up, you were planning to get into the housing market in 2022. None of us knew rates were going to do what they did, right? We're well ahead of schedule, because where we are today was projected for more towards the end of the year, or the middle to the end of the year. Okay, we are well ahead of that. So people are going to have to adjust their budget. I know you've talked about this ad nauseum on your own channel. Make sure you guys, matter of fact, go check out Real Estate Mindset on YouTube. This is Travis's channel. A lot of good content on there. But you had spoken about the fact that people need to adjust, right? Or maybe even stay put where they're at right now and wait it out. The rental market is also challenging right now for a lot of people. So there's going to be a decision that has to be made, because a lot of landlords at this point, when it's time to re-up, they are jumping this rent so crazy because they want to bump up their rents as well. So the adjustment that people are going to have to make, maybe again, you need to adjust your budget a little bit. But you've said this many times, Travis, don't settle, right? Don't settle. I also think maybe it's an opportunity for people, maybe if they adjust their mindset a little bit on maybe what they wanted, don't think of this as a, hey, I'm going to have this house forever. Maybe you can use it as a rental, you know, and maybe the market, when the market changes, not maybe, when the market changes, because it's going to change. It's going to change. But you're 100% right as far as the adjustment period that people need to go through right now. And maybe they do need to sit it out and wait.
Yeah, I think it's important, man. And for anyone that feels like they're stuck right now and they're frustrated, which I believe there's a whole bunch of suppressed buyers. My opinion, because I'm not giving my advice, right? I can't do that. My opinion is just to buckle down. It's to rebudget how you're spending. And I can pretty much guarantee almost every single person is spending too much money on food.
Yeah,
right? That's one way. So in order to start saving money to rebudget, you first have to track your money. And what I use for my personal situation is a program called Mint.com.
Yes.
And Mint.com allows you for free. This is a free software. It basically allows you to see the reality of your spending habits. And what I learned in my spending habits, I was honestly, I'm embarrassed to say this, I was spending over $2,000 a month in food and going out to eat and things like that.
Yeah.
And immediately when I saw that change, I stopped going out to eat. Minus the lunch I just ordered. Okay? I shouldn't have done that. I know that. But I'm good. My money is saved and I've rebudgeted, so I wanted to splurge a little bit and get some tortilla and soup. And that's what I did. But my advice is to save as much money as possible, because you're going to need more money going into 2022 and 2023. But likewise, improve your credit worthiness.
Yes.
Get out of consumer debt. The type of debt that you're going to want is mortgage debt. Mortgage debt is decent debt, and that is the type of debt that can help you purchase real estate. And real estate is historically is a great asset. So if you're frustrated with renting, don't look at it as an opportunity to rebudget, to tighten up, to save money, and to build your credit worthiness. One of the best things you can do with your credit is track it. Again, I use Credit Karma to track credit score, even though it's a different algorithm that doesn't have FICO, it's credit score. But it's still a great way to track it. And some of the best things you could do is how you spend on your credit cards. Credit cards are one of the most important things in getting credit score increases, because they have something called a utilization ratio. Now, with your utilization ratio, it basically means your credit line and how much you charge against your credit line.
Yep.
And the match you want that, as you know, do you remember this?
30% or less.
That's right. Yeah.
I actually tell people 10%, Travis. That's what I tell people. But 30% is still, that's where you're going to maximize your credit scores. So if you're less than that, great. But you definitely want to be at least 30% or less, because you and I know when we look at credit reports, which we do all day long. Yeah, that is like one of the number one killers. When I look at a credit score, first thing I go to, I look at revolving debt, I look at the balance, and I look at what they spent. And right off the back, I know, okay, that's killing their credit score. I know right off the back. So you are 100% right. That is an easy way for people to maximize their credit scores, number one, and get their credit worthiness back to a point to where when this market changes, you're going to be in a position to be able to take advantage of it.
I think so, man. And and if you really look at a lot of the factors, and a lot of people aren't reporting on this, if you look at a lot of the factors going into 2022, I really think it's a bad time to buy right now, right? I mean, if you gotta buy, but have the right mindset, hold them for 7 to 10 years, plan for the worst. If you're planning for the worst, you're gonna be safe. But if you go in with FOMO, fear of missing out, and you're just recklessly putting it off, I've seen people draw from the 401ks to go $100,000 over the asking price. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Absolutely, in my opinion, that's a really bad idea. When all you need to do, pump the brakes for 6 months and look at what we have going on. Not as much investor demand. That's going to increase inventory. A massive amount of foreclosures. That's going to increase inventory. Higher interest rates. That's going to create less demand, right? Record number of new build permits being pulled. And by the way, Texas, which is where we live, this is literally the state that have pulled the most permits to start new builds in any other state. Dallas being number one, Houston being number two.
We work in Houston. The longer you wait this year to purchase a home, if you're frustrated, if you're burnt out, hope is right around the corner is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, what I did is, because again, I have a home, I turned my home into a rental. And the reason is I didn't want to cash in right away. I wanted to turn my primary residence into a rental to get a passive income.
Yep.
So I'm renting myself right now. Right? So I'm putting my money where my mouth is, James. That's what I'm saying. And it's hard for me because I know I'm wasting money in rent. I know that.
Yeah.
But I would prefer to waste $24,000, right, for yearly rental,
Yep.
than overpay for a house $100,000, $150,000. Right?
Absolutely.
And this is what I'm trying to tell people: stop being so desperate. Get smart, right?
Yeah.
Take your time. Take a step back. People can help you find a rental. And while you're doing that, improve your creditworthiness, improve your situation, and enjoy your family. But one thing you don't want to do is purchase real estate based on fear of missing out.
Yes, and I can see a lot of that going on with everything we see in the news. It's constant. Like, the housing market and real estate is one of those. It's a huge, huge impact on this economy. So we know it's a huge impact on our GDP. So the housing is huge for us in this country. So, but you are 100% right. I don't want anybody to be buying out of desperation either. Like, it's just a bad situation to get into that point of you thinking I have to do it right now, right? It doesn't have to be that way. And Travis is 100% right. If you're not ready to do it, if you don't have to necessarily buy right now, say where you're at. Say where you're at. And listen, both of us are in this business. We're in the real estate industry. We want people to own homes. That's how we make our money.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about you is that with that being said, it's going to give people your honest opinion, what you think, right? Whether it's going to make you money or not. And I'm the same way. I want people to do ultimately what's best for them. That's what this comes down to, not what's best for you and I, because we're in the business. So yeah, we do not want anybody being in a desperate situation, feeling like they have to do it. Because one thing we know, Travis, things are going to change. It's going to change.
They always do.
It always does. No
Always.
doubt. So for you guys that are out there, you're thinking about owning, if just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and that you're not doing it out of, you heard something on the news and you think everything's just, rates are going to go up through the roof. So they're already high. Consider if you want to compare it to a year ago. But I always like to tell this story, Travis. Listen, I bought a house in 2006. Okay. Not my first house, but my second one. My interest rate was 6.5%. And I was happy.
Yeah.
So it's all about perspective. You talk to somebody who bought a house back in the 80s, right? 18%, 16%. So we're winning right now still. But we do have to get through that adjustment period, because people are, looking at what happened in 2021 and see where we're at already, not even 3 months into this year, and where rates are. And so it's a bit of an adjustment people are going to have to make for sure. So,
but I think that adjustment is so important, James. I mean, the difference in people succeeding and not succeeding is planning.
Yeah.
Right. And here's another thing that I didn't really cover as far as the foreclosures. And remember what's happening this year, okay? Especially in Texas, increased assessed value.
Yeah.
Some of these people's property taxes, they're going to go up $200-$300 a month on their mortgage.
Absolutely.
So they're struggling right now. Imagine, when the ERSO takes effect, which will be January 2023, they may be paying $300. Guess what else happens? School loan payments resume.
Yeah.
Guess what else? EIDL loans. So we have all of these band-aids being put on, these gaping wounds, when really what needs to happen is you rip the band-aid off and let the wound air out, heal naturally. So, I feel like if someone's purchasing a house right now, you're going with the 7 to 10 year mentality, but also going with the mentality that you're going to pay 10 to 15% more in living expenses a month. And if you can afford that and you're comfortable with holding a house for 7 to 10 years, by all means, buy a house. But it has never been more important, James, you know this, to work with professionals. Not only a mortgage loan officer like you that gives you them accurate payment, accurate information, but also they need to work with a realtor that is capable of trying to get a good deal in this market. Quite frankly,
Absolutely.
There's some really bad deals out there.
Yeah, and there's got to be somebody that knows what the heck they're doing, right? Especially on the real estate side, because these contracts that we see, there are ways to structure these deals that can put you as a buyer in a bad position, all right, or put you in a good position. You want a high-powered realtor call us. Me and Travis, we've got a lot of people we can get you in touch with, but you do not want to go half-ass when it comes to a realtor, right? You do not want to do that, not in this market. So for sure, not in this market. So we're going to revisit this again, Travis, guys. Make sure you guys go check out Travis's YouTube channel. All right, Real Estate Mindset is his YouTube channel. Travis has great content. All right, this is only just a little bit of what he provides on his YouTube channel. A lot of analysis. He's really good at this. So make sure you guys go check out Real Estate Mindset. Travis Spencer, you got any last words, Travis?
Just calm down.
Yeah.
If you're buying, calm down. Take a step back if you're frustrated. If you are buying, just again have the right mindset. If you're considering selling, sell.
Yep.
Definitely sell your house. There's never been a better time to sell. I think that is important to honestly, we're in a transition to reinvest. And what I did instead of selling is I turned my house into a rental. I think that you want to do things like that at the peak. One thing you don't want to do at the peak is buy.
Yep, no doubt. So guys, one thing that's going to happen, the market will change, right? So get yourself in a position. If you're there now, great. If you're not, don't be fear-mongered into thinking, I have to do it right now, right? Don't be sucked into that because the news will have you thinking all kinds of stuff. So Travis, I appreciate the intel, guys. Make sure, again, go check out Real Estate Mindset on YouTube and make sure you subscribe to this channel as well. Texas Mortgage Boss podcast on YouTube as well. And we will see you guys on the next video. Thank you, Travis.